this is a video not just of a tutorial, but of trials and tribulations. It is a video of defeat and victory. It is a video that took way too damn long to make. It is one of the hardest things I have ever made. It looks like it's easy, but I don't know, but Ray Ortiz, the designer, like just did some magic. He did some witchery. He did something, like, it's just, I don't know, but it just was so hard for me to do. So hence why this is a long ass video. So if you'd like to know or see how I did this Cardi B up transformation, then please keep on watching till the end of the video. Please grab something to drink, something to eat, grab a notebook, because this is going to be a long video and it's a ride and a half. So let's get on to it. I am filming this for the third mother effing time and I'm, ooh, this camera. Okay, anyway, this is day 2 because of procrastination. Literally, if I wasn't like a hardcore procrastinator, a lot more videos would be coming out and a lot more transformations would be done. Anyway, I finished cutting out all of the fabric, all that stuff. That shit was a workout in of itself. Like literally, I had my workout for the day, my cardio for the week. I'm going to go and start actually making this garment and hopefully everything turns out okay. And hopefully this outfit makes me look like I have an ass like Cardi, and I feel like that will be a success and an achievement for this costume. So let's get on to it. So we're first going to start with making the cone cup piece, the kind of the bra cup Madonna-esque situation for this Cardi B up transformation. Okay, so these are all the cone cup pieces that I cut out. There's 3 layers. There is a like lining layer, which is like the blue printed crap. Then you have a canvas layer, which will be like the actual structure layer, and I'm going to put some fusible interfacing on it. And then we have the velvet layer that's a little bit bigger because we're going to ruche it down so we can have that ruching gathered effect. I'm going to sew all of these together. So you'll have 3 cones, then you'll sew all of those together to make one full cone. Okay, so I took all the canvas layer pieces and I'm taking my fusible interfacing, and then on the rough layer, that's where all the glue is. So I'm going to take my cone pieces and lay them on the fabric, trace it out, and then cut it out. Okay, I'm going to do that for all 8 pieces, 4 for one side and 4 for the other side. And this is actually something I can use Sharpie for, unlike the freaking velvet fabric. I'm using a Sharpie, but it's probably best to like, oh shit. I don't know what I was thinking. And then so now I'm just going to cut all these out and then iron these onto the cone pieces. Okay, so these are what the cone cup pieces look like once you put the interfacing on. I decided to cut off the potential seam allowance for the cone cups as well, just to lessen the bulk that has to go through the sewing machine. This is how we're going to sew the cups together. So we want this interfacing to be on the inside. So we're just going to place the cups right sides together, aligning the edge together, and then we'll sew down a 1/4 inch. Okay, so that's already there. So you'll sew at a 1/4 inch here. After you sew at a 1/4 inch there, you're going to open this up and repeat the same step, grabbing the next cone and aligning it from the bottom up, placing pins there. I'm going to place like a temporary pin. I like to do it one at a time just to make sure there's like, you know, not too much to manage. All right, and then once that's sewed, then you're going to repeat the same step, taking the last piece, aligning it against the raw edge. All right, like that. Same thing. And then last but not least, then you'll take the raw edges of each side of the cone and align it together. Do the same exact thing, and that's how you kind of complete your cone cup. So once you flip it inside out, it's going to create a cone shape. And we'll be doing that for this canvas layer, the cotton layer, and also the velvet layer. Repeat the same exact steps. these are how our cones came out. Then all you have to do is just flip it inside out. So you just kind of push it. And that's shablam. I'm going to take my bra, the foundation bra right here, and I'm going to take this little cup. And so what I'm going to do is kind of place it on the bra, and then I'm going to take a matching-ish marker that should wash out, and I'm just going to trace out a circle, something like that, and then obviously we're going to put about a 1/4 inch seam allowance around that. I will do this for the other side and then pretty much cut it out. After we do that, now that we got these done, we're going to do the same exact thing for the cotton layer and then the velour velvet layer. And like I said, that the pattern for this, the tutorial on how I did it, and then the graded pattern will come a lot later because it will take a lot to grade. But all of that will be on my Patreon, so I'll have that link down below. Okay, so we're going to put together the cone for the velvet layer the exact same way. Just the only difference is that after we sew it together, we will re-sew it again right next to the stitch line, pretty much of where we sewed it before, with a gathering stitch, which is the largest stitch setting on your sewing machine. And I like to do the whole cone and then go back, but you can do it as you're assembling the cone. Okay, so these are the 3 different cones. 2 of them I flipped out. This one I didn't flip out yet, but this is what they should all look like. In order to gather, what we're going to do is just take one of the threads. One thread is usually easier than the other, and I'm just going to push all the gathers all the way up. And like make sure like as you're gathering, just don't pull too hard. I'm going to flip this back right side out and place it over the structural cone cup situation and just see where it lays. And this is pretty okay. It's not the best. I didn't really calculate that well of how much I would need to like get that full gather effect. So like I said, if I did this correctly, it would cover like all of this, but I did not. So what we're going to do is just maneuver the gathers and kind of pull some down so that it's enough gathers to give the effect, but still like, you know, does what it needs to do and covers everything. So it should cover most of it. Like I'm gonna pull some down here, but yeah, it should cover most of it. It doesn't have to cover 100%, but it should be pretty good to go. So now that I have both of my cups gathered, this one's definitely better than this one for whatever reason. We are going to work on the lining, which is pretty easy. So with the lining, this is on the right side, so we're just going to make sure the right side is pointed inward, kind of like that, so that you can see the seams more so than the right side. And then we're just going to put that underneath, shablam, and that should be pretty much it. Try to align the seams all together, so like all of the seams for this cup, like the seam for the velvet, the seam for the canvas, and the seam for the lining are kind of like all together. So after we do that, we're going to pin it all around and then sew it on the sewing machine at a 1/4 inch, maybe even a little bit less if you can. Now, I had, where is it? Okay, yeah, there we go. I had a few needles break off. So I'm going to be using my heavy duty needles to sew all these layers of fabric together. So pray for me. Madonna who? Madonna what? So these are pretty much what the cups look like. They're a little bit bigger than I thought it would be, but we'll make it work. So now I'm going to actually construct the bra. Now we're moving on to the bra. This is like kind of the foundational layer. So I drew out the circles even though you can't see it. So, but I'm just going to cut the circles out real quick, you know, where the cups should go. So I'm just gonna do like a hole in the middle and just cut around. And it doesn't have to be a perfect circle because the cup itself will do that, do most of that work and that like illusions. So I did cut out the circles. They're a little questionable. Now that that's done, we're going to transfer this to the velvet version. Again, using like a water soluble marker. I'm going to cut this out and then we'll actually start constructing everything. Okay, so once we've done that, but I'm going to do some more fusible interfacing just for this area right here because we'll be putting in grommets, so we need that part to be strong. What I'm going to do is take some tracing paper and just trace this area out. You can also just use your pattern as well, but I just like to kind of use what actually came out, you know what I mean? All right, so that's pretty much the shape that we got. So I'm just going to subtract about a 1/4 inch away from it just for seam allowance reasons, relatively. I'm going to cut that out and that'll serve as my pattern. And then also I'm just making sure that I'm mirroring the pattern as well because you want one for each side. And also if the fuse of like the glue of the interfacing doesn't work, you can always sew it on. I just don't feel like doing that. All right, and so that's what it should look like, and it should just at least be a little bit, you know, stiffer, ready for action, just so that the fabric doesn't like pull too much when the grommets are put in. Okay, so now back to the velvet bra. I have to look at my notes. Hold on. Oh my god. Okay, we got ruche down the middle, of course, and then a ruche in between, like in the middle of the cups, and then a ruche over here, which I'll deal with that later. I'm taking my ruler just to make sure it's like kind of straight and just marking the ruching panel. So like I said, there was like one like down the middle, kind of sort of. That was supposed to be like the middle. That's, there we go. That's better-ish, kind of. Relatively. And then same thing, right? Like in the dead center cup, same thing. Okay, so I'm going to go and get those like side panel pieces to pin to each side, and then we'll sew those together. Okay, here are the side panel pieces. I just have to figure out which one's for which. Oh, I forgot my pins. I'll be right back. Here's what those side panel pieces look like. Obviously, they're bigger. Okay, they're bigger because we have to ruche them down, but this is what they relatively look like. I am going to pin those together. Okay, so now that that's pinned together, we'll sew at a 1/4 inch. And then I'm going to pin on the other side, obviously. So as I'm sewing the sides of the bra together, I'm also going to do a ruching stitch right next to that stitch. And then after I do those two things, I will now sew at the lines that we made for the ruching and just do a wide gathering stitch at each point that we marked. Okay, so I also sewed the pieces together for the base bra as well. I kind of forgot one thing to do and I'm so frustrated about it, is that when you do the gathering stitches for like anything that still needs its shape, you can start a 1/4 inch away from the raw edge to start gathering to keep the shape of the bra or garment. And so what I'm just going to do now is I'm going to lay this bra on top of the base bra and just then I'm going to start to ruche the velvet layer so I can size it down to match the foundation layer and just try to, you know, move and maneuver the ruches as best as possible. But it is made to have excess fabric so we can cut it down later. So try to do as best as you can. And then once you feel good about the ruching, then you just pin them in the places that you just don't want it to move. So around the bra cup holes and the McDonald's M's and all of those types of places. This is just for getting the velvet bra down to size so we are able to sew it to the foundation layer later. Everything pretty much fits the way that I want it to. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side, and then I'll be back to do the next steps, which will probably be tomorrow because I'm tired. Anyway, I'll probably see y'all tomorrow. Alright, so today is day 3. And there's a lot of wind outside. Now you know that it is serious business because I have my bandana on and my hair is in braids. So I'm trying to get this project done because it's getting on my goddamn nerves. Day 3 is like when enthusiasm becomes exhaustion. You know, like, so I'm just kind of over it. My braids are over it too because it wants to stick out. But oh my god, I just can't wait until it's done. So I still gotta film the, film and make and finish the bra, and then hopefully I can at least get a start on the pants for day 3, but we'll just see how it goes. We'll just see, because this project is giving me all types of agita and frustration. But anyway, let's get on to constructing the bra. Okay, so once you have kind of gathered everything to pretty much line up, is not 100% because we'll cut off the excess, but as long as you can line up the tops, and then gather the fabric enough so that it kind of aligns to the bottom of the original bra, then that's fine. If it's a little bit more, like I said, we will cut it off, but we'll sew the bras together first. So once we figured everything out, I'm just going to tie off the gathering stitches, but again, just make sure that it's exactly the way you want it to be gathered. Alright, so you just kind of continue to do that, and once that's done, then I'm going to unpin everything I pinned, and then we're going to place them right sides together, and then sew along this bottom edge right here. Alright, so I'm placing them right sides together, and I'm going to pin it the same way I did before, but it'll be at like key places, but then it'll also just be across the bottom of the base. Is going to be like the reference point of where the bottom should be, because like I said, we'll have to cut off some excess fabric. Yeah, just be as careful as you can possibly be, just to make sure that everything is laid out pretty much correctly. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but accurate enough. So I pinned the whole bottom row together and then some reference places. So I'm just going to sew across at 1/4 inch. And I'm going to use my heavy duty sewing machine needle for this part because we'll be sewing over a lot of ruffles and all that stuff. I finished sewing the 2 bras together at the bottom. So what I'm first going to do before I flip it over is I'm just going to cut off the excess fabric at the bottom, or at the sides. And then eventually at the top, but when I flip it over. So I'm just going to chop this right quick. I actually probably should have left about 1/4 inch seam allowance just in case. Now I'm going to undo the pins and then flip it. What I'm going to do again is I'm going to flip it over and then align the raw edges together, and then I think I'm going to stay stitch everything that I need to stay stitch before we start finishing the edges and all that stuff. So I'm going to go over here. So I'm going to flip it over, and then like I did before, just line up the points of where, you know, like the staple points of where it should line up. But I'm just going to put a lot more pins because we want it to be as accurate as possible now. Okay, so after I pinned everything, it took for freaking ever. Now what I'm going to do is stay stitch all around the perimeter of the bra and also for the circle part. Yeah, this circle part is way bigger than this one, and I don't know why. It's a little concerning, but I'll figure it out. So I stay stitched most of it. I did one like cone circle situation because I was afraid that the fabric would stretch out too much, so I left it. So now what we're going to do is cut off the excess fabric and then fold the raw edges back 1/4 inch and sew that down. Okay, so I put the pins and folded the raw edge down 1/4 inch all the way around the top of the bra, and so now I'm just going to sew that down, and then after that we'll be putting on the cups. Okay, so I sewed all that I needed to sew down for the most part, and it's looking pretty good. I mean, it could look better. It's not looking the exact way I wanted it to look, but you know what? It is what it is. So now we are going to take the cones and we are going to pin them into these holes. Hopefully they fit. I'm not really sure. And then we'll sew this together. Y'all are just gonna see my thighs for the whole damn video. Okay, so I'm just going to pretty much insert the cone through that hole situation. And then I'm just gonna start pinning. Oh yeah, my sewing machine is definitely gonna have fun with this. Okay, so this is what the bra looks like once you sew the cones on. I'm gonna move this out the way. I had to kind of take in a little bit of the kind of like circle situation because the circles were a tad bit too big. I don't know how that happened, but it was. So I just kind of fixed it. I just like kind of clipped, like pinched the excess together and then hand sewed it together and then hand sewed it to the actual cone. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the closure for the bra using these little tabby things. They're like 2 inches by 3 inches or something like that, and we're just gonna fold these in half. So then like sew pretty much all around the corners except for the raw edge on this side, and then we'll flip it inside out and then we'll sew it to the bra. But I will add a little bit of fusible interfacing just to make it a little bit sturdier because I will be putting grommets on this. So I'm gonna go and do that real quick and then I'll be back. It's really easy and simple. Okay, so this is what it looks like once you're done sewing. So we're going to flip these right side out. Shablam, and just make sure you just like stuff in those corners. You can also snip the corners, but I like to keep the corners unsnipped for this just so that it's more of a rounded edge than like a sharp edge. So it should look like this. Okay, so after we've done that, we're just going to take our little tabs that we made and just pin them along the edge of the bra. I'll just sew right along here at 1/8 of an inch using my heavy duty needle because it's a lot of layers. Okay, so this is what the bra is looking like right now, and so now all we have to do is put in the grommets. So I checked Ray Ortiz, the designer's Instagram, to try to get as many angles as possible because like with the video it moves so fast that like I can't get all the details. And so I'm gonna just take a marker. Right, cool, regular marker, cool. And I'm just going to put dots of where I believe the grommet should go. So it kind of, the first one kind of starts like the like point right out from the like V curve situation. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but try to put like the points like in the center of the bra as well, like from the width of the, none of that makes any sense. Just put dots where you think the dots should go. Okay, connect the dots. All that dots. Just dots everywhere, okay?
So
So there's like 5 grommets on each side, and I'm just gonna put the grommets where I think they should go. Period. Or at least the grommet that goes at the end is like right here. And so I'm just gonna kind of like fill in the middle. So probably like right here, and then right here, and then right here. Cool. I think that's where all the grommets should go. Boom. That's kind of where I put them. So like I said, like kind of the first point where there's some thickness from where the V is. Then kind of, I put a dot probably where the other side. So when the kind of the bra starts to decline on the other side. So I put that there. Then I placed one pretty much in the middle, and then one at the, you know, on each side of the middle. So you have 5 in total. So I'm going to do that on the other side, and also place 2 grommets on the back here, kind of like right here, and then or dots, and then I'm going to put in the grommets. I'm not going to go over exactly how to put on grommets. I will probably do a separate video for that. I'm going to go put my dots places where they should be, and then put on the grommets. So this is what the bra came out to look like with the choker, which will be done next episode. But it looks fabulous. It looks pretty decent. It's great for my first try. And yeah, I'm just happy with what it came out. So this is how the bra came out. And then in the next videos, you will see how the other pieces of this Cardi B transformation turn out. Alright, so we finally finished the bra in this video, and it looks really, really good, and it fits well, but I'm just really proud of the bra. There was a lot of problems, issues of problems, but I made it through, and it looks pretty decent. I feel like it's pretty close to the original. It could have more ruffles, and it could fit a little bit better, but other than that, it's pretty good. I know we only just did the bra. How come ever? This video, when I was editing it, it took a long time, and it's about an hour change of footage. So I decided to split it up in 3 different videos. So that's just how you make the bra. Tomorrow I'll be posting part 2 of this Cardi B up transformation, and then the next day I'll post part 3, and then you'll get to see the final look within those videos. So as always, please love yourself, subscribe, and I will see you next video. Mwah!